Think about this for a second. You've selected a realtor, you've hired them, you've actively listed your property for sale, but what if there are certain things that you've told your agent in confidence that are actually working against you and hurting your chances of selling and taking away money from your bottom line? Well, in this video, I'll showcase the top things that you shouldn't tell your real estate agent when going through the selling process. Let's have a look. And point number one, never tell your listing agent that you're not motivated to sell, you're not in a hurry to sell. Now, this is a way to alleviate stress for the public. It's kind of like when you walk into a store and the staff goes up to you and they say, how can I help you out? And you just say, I'm just looking, no thank you. So that's a way to alleviate stress. But when you're talking to someone who's in 100% commission and you tell them that you're not motivated, a lot of the bad agents out there will just kind of blow you off. So if you are truly motivated to sell and you use that kind of terminology, it can work against you. The real estate agent, they might blow you off. A better realtor might still qualify you and see how they can help you out. And another reason why you don't want to do this is because this can leak out to the buyer as well. Most agents are on your side and they're going to try and help you out, but there are still some bad apples out there. And I've had it where I've asked the listing agent, how come the listing's on the market for so long? What's up with it? And they've flat out told me the seller is not motivated to sell. Because of that terminology, myself and that buyer, we just chose a different property to view because we didn't think that seller was serious about getting their property sold. Next point, this is one of my favorites. I'm only selling if I get my price. Now, this is an immediate no for me. I hate when I hear this. If I hear I'm only selling if I get my price, I think of an inflated price. I think of someone that doesn't want to pay any commission. I think of somebody that wants to do tons of open houses, tons of marketing, but they're only going to sell if they get their unrealistic inflated price. So these are words that when I hear, I'm just like immediately turned off by this. Now, a lot of rookie agents will still take on this type of seller, and they might waste a lot of their time and the seller's time by listing it, paying money to market it, do open houses, wasting tons of time, and it still doesn't sell. But someone that's more experienced, they still might qualify this seller, dig for motivation, and see how they can help them out. But overall, when I hear these words, I'm immediately turned off by being in 100% commission sales. And this is a clear non-motivation kind of term for me. And it's one of the red flags that I come across when I'm dealing with the public. And the next point, never tell the agent what you think the property should sell for. I've made this mistake, plenty of times in the past, and I'll ask them, what do you think it should sell for? And that seller can say, well, you're the expert, you tell me. And there's kind of a bit of an awkward exchange. So you are the professional, your job is to give them guidance. And if you are a homeowner, you can definitely check what's on the market right now currently for sale. You can check some of the sold data. And when you meet with the agent, they should back up their position with active listings, conditionally sold properties that are all comparable in your area. And they should also back it up with what's happening currently in the market. Now, I would say that most people who are in the real estate business have your best interests at heart. I truly do believe that. Maybe 95% are like this. But there are some bad apples in every industry. And if you tell that agent what your price is to begin with, they might actually fudge the stats to kind of make you happy. They might think the price is worth more than what you think, and they might actually show stats that make it look lower than what it actually is to support your position, make it an easier sale. That could definitely happen. And the opposite, if you think it's higher than what it actually is, that agent might fudge the stats as well to show you what you want to see and buy the listing, hoping that they can beat you up on the price month after month. And when a property is on the market for a long period of time, there is a correlation between long days on the market and a lower sales price. So this could cost you money in the end by giving out your price in advance to an unscrupulous agent. Now, again, most agents do have your best interests at heart, but I would still protect yourself given the chance. And the next point, giving out your bottom dollar price to the listing agent. I would probably avoid this. For the most part, it's none of their business, to be honest. There are circumstances where the listing agent needs to know how much is owing on the property, how much is the bank payout penalty, the commissions, just to make sure the property can actually close. But for most situations, the listing agent doesn't need to know the bottom line price that you're willing to accept because this gets leaked all the time. I'm not even joking here. When I'm on the buying end of things, I'll ask the listing agent during the negotiations, what's the bottom line? And you'd be shocked at how often that listing agent will actually tell me, which is working against the best interests of that seller. So I'd probably keep this to yourself. But again, there are circumstances where we have to make sure the property can actually close. And there's commissions, there could be legal fees, there could be arrears with taxes and condo fees, all sorts of scenarios like that. So the listing agent does need to be professional and know if it can actually close. But the bottom line price, I don't know if they need to know that per se. And the next point, let's talk about the motivation for selling. Now, this could be, births, deaths, relocation, nasty divorce, job promotion, all sorts of things like that. And I'm of the opinion that the listing agent and the buyer's agent, they don't really need to know this. From my perspective, when I deal with a seller, it's I'm pretty much black and white. This is the list price. This is where I think it should sell. This is the commission. This is what I'll be doing to sell it. Are you okay with that? Let's get started. I don't need to know they're getting into a nasty divorce and that they're fighting all the time and that it's a miserable experience. This gets leaked out to the buyer all the time. Now, when I have listings, the buyer's agents, they always ask me, why are they selling? Why are they selling? And you don't want to divulge the situation, because if you say it's a nasty divorce, they're really fighting and they want to get sold immediately, this buyer might actually, wait you out for a bigger price drop, or they might just offer like a lowball offer when they weren't going to do that before. So it could hurt the seller. So when people ask me, I just say the seller is asking not to divulge their situation, or I just say, they're upgrading to a better home. I just keep it so vague that they have nothing to go off of. Quite often you'll see on the MLS forum, in the public and private comments, you'll see motivated seller, please bring your offer. You'd be surprised at how often agents will actually divulge the situations of their clients. So it is something that I would probably be very cautious about doing. Next point, I probably wouldn't ask, is it a good time to sell my property? It's always a good time. It could be like December 20th, minus 30 outside. It's a great time to sell. Homes look great during the holidays. There's less inventory at the market at that time. And there are still motivated buyers in the dead of winter. It could be May 1st, tons of listings, winter is over, great time to sell. It's always a great time to sell. It's always relative. But the question that you should be asking, is it a great time for me to sell? So you want to analyze your situation, meet with the agent, and go over absolutely everything and see if the timing is right for you. Because the timing is always good in our market. There are always homes selling. There's always periods where there's more inventory and more sales. There's periods where there's less inventory and less sales. Again, it's always relative. So I think you just want to ask yourself, is it a good time for me to sell? And if you have a good agent, they'll give you their honest take. And sometimes it's better to wait, and sometimes it's better to act immediately. So it just depends on what's happening with your situation and the market. And the next point, I probably wouldn't divulge how many people you're interviewing for the job. It really isn't that agent's business to know how many people you're actually going to interview. And I probably wouldn't say that they're the only person that you're interviewing. Even though I like that, I've been in the business for a while now, I like to put the client's interests first. And so for me, it's no problem at all. But for a lot of agents, they might not feel that way. And if they know it's just them that's being interviewed, they might not give you the full listing package. They might not go into all the details, and they might cut things short. And I think if you are listing your property, you want to get all of the information up front. Make sure you know exactly what the agent is going to do, how the contract works, just to know everything about the listing process. And if you're dealing with someone that just knows that they're the only person being interviewed, they might cut their presentation a bit short. Now, again, most agents do have your best interest in mind. I'd say 95% of people are like this, but there are, again, some bad apples out there that might do things like this. And the last point here, what is the listing time frame? Now, you can ask this question and you might feel like you're being dictated to what it is, because it's actually a negotiation. There's no magic number when it comes to the listing time frame. So if somebody tells you that it's 6 months, I would probably avoid that agent. It doesn't take 6 months to sell a property. Now, to go onto the MLS system in Calgary, it has to be 2 months minimum, or else the board won't actually let us list the property. So that's one of our board policies, but it is still a negotiation. It could be listed for 2.5 months. It could be listed for 4 months. I find 3 months is a good rule of thumb for me, because sometimes things do take time, especially when the market does balance out, when there are less buyers and there's more inventory. Things take longer to sell, but I find 3 months is usually a good rule of thumb. But if someone tells you it's 5 months and it's like mandatory, I would probably avoid that agent because they're not being honest with you. It is a negotiation. There's no magic number when it comes to having a listing timeline. Well, there you have it. Those are just a few points I've noticed throughout my years of things I probably wouldn't say to a listing agent. And if you're out there watching this and you could use some help buying, selling, or relocating, I would love to be a resource and see how I can help you out in your situation. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. And I've also got some free resources for you in the pinned comment, a buyer's guide, seller's guide, and a relocation guide. These are all free for download. Feel free to connect. I'd love to be a resource and help you out. And I will see you on the next video.